안녕하세요. 엘사 엄마입니다. 저는 자폐 아이를 키우고 있고 캐나다에서 naturopathy 메디컬 스쿨에 다니고 있습니다. 오늘은 닥터 소냐를 만나러 왔는데요. 제가 여기서 견습을 하고 있기도 하고 엘사도 여기서 치료를 받아왔어요. 그 과정에서 제가 배웠던 것들이 참 많아서 그 이야기를 같이 들을 수 있으면 좋겠다 싶어서 이렇게 자리를 마련해 봤습니다. 그럼 소개부터 들어볼게요.
I'm a naturopathic doctor. I've been practicing for 20 years. Honestly, my sister wanted to be a naturopath, so I guess I sort of just followed her into naturopathic medicine, not really knowing how much it would impact and change my life and how important it would be for my kids' lives. So I started working in pediatrics because I love kids, and very early on, like in the first year and a half, 2 years of my practice, I started working with kids diagnosed with autism, and I trained with the Autism Research Institute with their Defeat Autism Now program. And then very shortly after that, the Medical Academy of Pediatric Special Needs started, and my mentor, Dr. Julie Buckley, had been, starting to do some training as a speaker there. And I love her and Dr. Andrew Usman and obviously Dan Rossignol and Dr. Bradstreet and Liz Mumper, the wonderful Liz Mumper, Sydney Schneider, Nancy O'Hare, all those lovely ladies and gentlemen and doctors who've helped so many kids. So that's it. I've been treating children diagnosed with autism and other developmental delays for since that time. And then our youngest son regressed into autism when he was 16 months old after a surgery. It was like a 6-hour surgery, and it was a sort of a younger anesthesiologist, very new to anesthesiology, and I think they put in more anesthetic at the end because he started to wake up. So he basically got kind of what, maybe not like a double dose of anesthetic, but way too much. And then he had lots of Tylenol and Keflex, and had 2 or 3 other surgeries after that. So anyway, we started biomedical right away, and with some of the treatments that I was familiar with, and then some I learned along the way from other doctors and parents and anyone I could learn from. And so Magnus has been doing biomedical treatment since he was 16 months old. We still do it. He's 13 and a half, so he turns 14 in February, and we consider him recovered. Like that term I use because I think the term cure is it's wrong. Like something happened to our son, like so many kids, and we were able to medically treat those issues, and he's recovering, and he's getting better and better. So he's thank God, literally at age level for his language and communication, learning. He's a smart little nugget. He loves chess, and he's got friends, and he plays sports. He plays hockey and lacrosse and rugby and cross country, and just gets in. He loves football. He started playing flag football for school. So I'm happy to be here to share anything that I have that can help other people. I know that was a bit of a long intro, but that's how I got here. Yeah. So I graduated in 2003, and Magnus was born in 2011. I worked with autistic children before I had children of my own. Like Magnus, we know, I think now, that he was susceptible to the anesthetic, Tylenol, antibiotics, whatever it was that threw him off. He had pre-existing mitochondrial weakness, pre-existing methylation issues, pre-existing lead and mercury, and also just a slew of microbes. So
여기서부터는 조금씩 부연 설명을 하면서 보겠습니다. 닥터 소냐가 언급한 이 마취제는 여러 문헌에도 자폐를 발생시키거나 악화시킬 수 있다고 나와 있습니다. 에너지를 생성해내는 미토콘드리아를 손상시키고 신체의 여러 물질들을 생성해내는 메틸레이션에 이상을 일으킬 수 있기 때문이라고 하는데요. 자세한 내용은 고정 댓글에 링크를 살펴봐 주시면 되겠습니다. 타이레놀과 자폐의 연관성도 연구가 많이 되어 있고요. 항생제의 악영향도 제가 이전 영상에 많이 올려서 아실 거라고 생각합니다. 물론 이거 다 해도 괜찮은 아이들이 훨씬 많겠지만 선천적으로 해독하고 처리하는 그릇이 좀 작은 아이들이 있을 수 있잖아요. 조금 더 취약하고 조금 더 약한 아이들. 닥터 소냐가 언급한 것처럼 선천적으로 미토콘드리아 기능이 조금 약하거나 메틸레이션 기능이 조금 약한 아이들, 그 상태에서 중금속이나 곰팡이 노출이 있었다. 장내 미생물 문제가 있었다. 그런데 마취제와 타이레놀과 항생제도 투여했다. 그러면 이런 것들이 모두 만나서 아이가 감당할 수 있는 선을 넘어가 버릴 수 있잖아요. 이제 그러면 발달에 문제가 생길 수 있다는 이야기입니다.
I am sort of macro and micro. Like I think that all of the problems that you run into lead to the biggest problem. So whether it's mycotoxins or Clostridia or strep or heavy metals or toxicants, your intestines stop moving.
여기서 장 운동이 멈춘다고 표현한 것은 완전히 멈춘다는 게 아니고 움직임이 좀 느려지고 약해진다라는 것을 의미하는 건데요. 장이 연동 운동을 활발하게 해야 계속 아래로 찌꺼기를 빼낼 수 있잖아요. 근데 그 연동 운동이 활발하지 않은 것을 의미하고요. 이건 현대인들에게 드물지 않은 증상입니다. 우리 아이들이 대부분 장 문제가 있다 보니까 요즘에 노르믹스라고도 하는 리팍시민도 많이 먹고 하는데, 그래도 장 문제가 개선이 잘 되지 않는 것은 이 연동 운동을 살려내는 요법들을 같이 하지 않기 때문입니다. 소장 내 세균 과잉 증식증이라고 하는 C5 치료 프로토콜에도 보면 C5 환자들은 대부분이 장 운동이 활발하지 못하다, 잘 내려보내지 못하고 있다. 그래서 꼭 이 부분을 회복시켜야 한다고 강조하고 있습니다.
So once your intestines stop moving, obviously the digestive tract is the major emunctory. It's the biggest way that we get rid of toxins. And once it stops moving, I think that's when you get regression. I think that's when you get, behavioral symptoms. You get the restricted feeding, the change in appetite, the not sleeping, the chronic infections, or kids stop getting sick or they get sick all the time, right? So I think the gut is key on a microscopic level, like who's living in the gut, but also on a macroscopic level, like once the gut stops moving, that stuff accumulates in the biofilm, and the biofilm is like a sticky, gooey mess. So I think you should find out what the contributors are, but you don't have to wait to get started on that sticky, gooey mess, right? You can start, as I'm fairly notorious for the bowel clear-outs. I don't know if anyone does or recommends quite as many bowel clear-outs as I do, but because what I've seen come out of the intestines of kids, I'm convinced, because once you start seeing mucus come out or sandy stuff in the case of mold, which is the bile salts coming out because the mold is interfering with the production of bile, you don't necessarily see heavy metals and pesticides come out, but they come out through the bowel as well. Once you see this gross, disgusting stuff come out of the bowel, kids also improve, right? And their absorption improves, their ferritin levels, their iron levels finally start to go up, their cholesterol starts building if it's low normal. So you see it, like I see that. They improve as this stuff comes out of the gut. So I've seen that for 20 years. Easily 90%. Easily. Yeah, I mean, I think that autism is poorly understood. I think that when we, some of the research that looked at brain tissue in autism showed that the neurons are longer and more complicated. So I think it's a complicated brain to begin with, and then it's not getting as much fuel because the digestive tract's not working or the mitochondria is impaired, and so they're not producing enough ATP. But I think that the problems we see in autism are largely medical, right? Like even the eye contact piece, like the visual tracking would be one of the first signs of autism, where babies aren't tracking visually. They're not looking at people, they're avoiding people, looking at objects, that kind of thing. But 80% of children with autism, 77.9% in one study, they were found to be vitamin A deficient. So vitamin A you need for the retinoid receptors to function, and illnesses and toxicants deplete vitamin A. So medical, I think right from the beginning, if your vision isn't supported and you can't integrate visual information, which is what some of the other research says, then it's going to throw off your ability to learn social cues and learn, you got to look at people's mouths to learn how to talk. So I believe it's highly medical. It's not about getting rid of, the autism. I get frustrated with this whole like neurodivergent piece, because neurodivergence is real, but accepting medical problems is not okay, right? When a child was born with Down syndrome, we don't just say, well, because we're accepting the child with Down syndrome, we're also accepting that they're more at risk for thyroid issues or dementia or diabetes, we treat their medical issues. So in autism, we have to honor people and honor true neurodivergence, which is they also have higher risk of medical issues.